On December 3rd, 2024, Cordelia Eva Madrid, 75, of Pocatello, Idaho, was called home by our Lord, surrounded by her loved ones. Cordy was born February 17th, 1949, in Las Vegas, New Mexico, the daughter of Margarita and Dolores Armijo and Vicente Sanchez. Cordy graduated from Pocatello High School with the class of '67. Cordy married Raymond Madrid on July 6, 1968 at St. Anthony Catholic Church. Together they shared 56 years of marriage. Cordy was a member of St. Anthony Catholic Church, Holy Spirit Catholic Community. Cordy dedicated 30 years of service as a paraprofessional with the Pocatello Public School District 25, where she later retired in 2010. Cordy loved family vacations, camping, occasional trips to the casino, and frequent trips to JCPenney. Most of all, she enjoyed spending time and holidays with family and friends. She especially loved her time with her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, enjoying all of their accomplishments and achievements. Cordy is survived by her husband, Raymond Madrid, Pocatello, a son, Raymond Anthony Madrid, Lydia, Pocatello, a daughter, Monica Dolores Lisa Madrid, Pocatello, 6 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren, a brother, Joe Sanchez, Kathy, Ogden, Utah, a sister, Frances Martinez, Pocatello, and numerous nieces and nephews. She's preceded in death by her parents, brothers Geronimo Armijo, Vincent Sanchez, Johnny Otero, Alejandro Armijo Jr., sisters Ricarda Sanchez, Zenaida Sanchez Otero, and other loved ones. For those that don't know me, my name is Vincent Armijo Sanchez, and Cordy was my dad's older sister. My dad, Alex Jr., loved my Aunt Cordy very much, and it's an honor for my family to have this opportunity to share some of her family history with all of you today. I hope some of this information that I'm about to share with all of you today is going to bring some insight to Aunt Cordy's life. I'm going to, share some of her history that some of you guys may not even be aware of, and I think it's going to be kind of fun and cool to go over it. But I think a lot of it is going to show you what you guys already know, which is that she's an amazing, sincere, authentic person, and how much we all loved Cordy Eva Madrid, and how truly blessed each and every one of us were to have had the opportunity to really know her. As I go over some of her life and history, I hope that it'll bring a smile and maybe some laughs to your guys' as Aunt Cordy brought so many laughs and smiles to my life. So again, I'm going to go over the history part of it, and then we'll go over and focus on the second part of it about her as a person. Now, to get an understanding of who a person is, I think it's really important to understand about the person's roots and where they came from. So as I mentioned in her obituary, Cordy was born in a small town in New Mexico named Las Vegas. Now, this is Las Vegas, New Mexico. I know it could be confusing to some in the world to comprehend, but New Mexico and New Mexico, there is a difference. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that, right? Yeah. So Mexico is a country, all right? It has 130 million people in it. And New Mexico is a very, very rich culture of people. It has 2 million people. And we should be very proud of the people that come from New Mexico. And that's where Aunt Cordy's family comes from. And the New Mexican people, not only the Spanish people have been there since the 1700s, right? But the Native American people have been there for thousands and thousands of years. And we're going to be talking about Aunt Cordy's Native American heritage as well, that maybe none of you guys are aware of. Anyway. So let's talk about Las Vegas. So that Las Vegas that Aunt Cordy is from predates the well-known Las Vegas in Nevada. And trust me, I've been to both Las Vegases. And the place that Aunt Cordy is from, the Las Vegas in New Mexico, is a lot more like rural, a lot more country, right, Judy? Right? You've been there, Judy Otero. Right? And it's in the place that Aunt Cordy's from. It's not like downtown Las Vegas. It's the upper town, San Miguel, Las Vegas. It's where all the adobe houses are from. So these adobe houses, and if you're not familiar with what an adobe house is, it's a structure that's built out of mud, clay, and other natural resources that have been built for thousands of years by Native Americans. And that's where Aunt Cordy is from. And that's the part of the region that she's from. And just to get a better idea of where she's from, did you know that Aunt Cordy was not born in a hospital? Did you know that there wasn't a doctor that gave birth to Aunt Cordy? And did you also know that the person who was there was a midwife, and it was her grandmother, and it was Mama Encha. And Mama Encha was her grandmother was a full-blooded San Juan Pueblo Native American, right? And when Cordy was born, her mother, Margarita Dolores Armijo, was from Mora, New Mexico, was 35 years old. And Cordy's father, Vicente Sanchez, who was much older, was Valencia County, New Mexico, and he passed away just 8 months after Cordy was born. Just 8 months after she was born. So sadly, Cordy had no memory of her father, Vicente. And it's important to remember that Cordy had humble beginnings. And with the loss of her father at an early age, she really had a harsh welcome into this world. And I know it's a lot to take, right? You know, we got Las Vegas, New Mexico. We got adobe houses, we got Mama Encha, and we got baby Cordy. And you know she was cute, right? You know, she was just cute. Baby Cordy, just 8 months old, and now her 36-year-old widowed mother. And did I mention that my grandmother, Cordy's mom, she had 6 children at the time when Vicente passed away. And those 6 children, if you don't mind me mentioning them, that was Jerry, Ricky, Sadie, Joe, and Vince. And now baby Cordy, 6 children in Las Vegas, New Mexico, that is. So not too wild, but still, 6 children. And I want to clarify that those 6 children, some of them were already adults. Jerry, Ricky, and Sadie were having children. And I also want to say that adobe house that they were building, it's still there. So if the grandchildren want to go visit it, it's still there. I visited it myself a few years ago. It was pretty cool to be there where Aunt Cordy was born. So it's awesome. It's a little bit of a drive up to Upper Town, by the way, so make sure you get filled up with gas. For real. So the children that were with Margarita, you still had Uncle Joe and Uncle Vince. And so there was still a lot to handle if you know Uncle Joe and Uncle Vince, right? and you had baby Cordy, right? And I want to pause for a moment, and I want to see some hands. I want some interaction here. So how many, don't lie because we're in a church, okay? So how many, by a raise of hands, knew that Aunt Cordy was not born in a hospital? How many did you know that? See? All right, okay. You knew. How many knew that Aunt Cordy's grandmother was a full-blooded Native American San Juan Pueblo Indian, whose original name of the Native American tribe was Okeawinga, and they went back to it in 2005. Who knew that? All right. So we're learning some things. All right? It's pretty amazing that this woman that we all love, right? She came from humble beginnings there in New Mexico, right? And it's really special that we know what a special woman that she was. And sometimes as I would reflect about this, and we've all gone through tragedies in our life, right? But she had such a hard beginning, and some people become hardened by that. But what a sweet, sweet, wonderful woman she was. And I think she saw such the value in love and family that she went the opposite way that a lot of people go, right? Instead of becoming so hard, she became so loving, right? And when she got her family of her own, oh, she loved them so much, didn't she? And she held on to them so tight. And I think that's a lesson to a lot of us in the value of that love, right? By 1954, Cordy was 5 years old. Her mother fell in love with a widower named Alejandro Otero. And then she saw the birth of 3 more siblings. Her sister Frances, her brother Alejandro Jr., my dad, and another brother named Johnny. And also, sadly, by the age of just 5 years old, she saw the death of her baby brother Johnny, and the passing of her grandmother, Mama Incha, and the death of the only father she knew. Alejandro died in an auto accident. And I've been told by multiple sources, Aunt Ricky and Aunt Sadie, that Cordy's mother had suffered so much loss in such a short amount of time that she just wanted to leave New Mexico behind her. She was just tired of all the loss that she had. And so she first moved to Wyoming with Aunt Cordy and the kids, and then eventually moved to Pocatello, Idaho. And growing up in Pocatello in the 1950s and 60s for the Sanchez family was not easy or anything, but they made the best that they could. And Cordy's mom also worked, and the kids worked in the fields picking fruit and vegetables on the local farms. And Aunt Cordy had told me a lot of stories. Actually, I'm going to erase some of these stories. I don't want to go too long, guys. But I do want to say that I did live with Aunt Cordy and Uncle Ray during the first year of college when I went to Idaho State University. So I heard a lot of stories from Aunt Cordy, sometimes multiple times, right? And I loved each and every one of these. As many of you guys have heard a lot of stories from Aunt Cordy. And the people who loved hearing these stories, in a lot of these stories I heard she was defending my dad, who she loved very, very much, who she called Junior. One of these stories she told me when her mother passed away. She told me that one of the last things that her mom said to her was to take care of Junior, right? Even buy those cigarettes for him if he wants them, right? And she always did. And she says, I don't care what anybody else says, I will never leave you. She always took care of her brother. That was my dad. My dad always appreciated that. And I loved Aunt Cordy very, very much. Cordy was a kind person, an authentic person, right? Someone you can count on. When she was 19 years old, Cordy married Raymond Madrid, my uncle Raymond Madrid, a returning U.S. Army service member. And she loved him very, very much. Now, speaking of stories, Uncle Ray has a few stories of his own. And Aunt Cordy heard some of those Army stories many times, and I know she could tell them herself. Cordy and Raymond had 2 children together who they loved more than anything on this planet, Ray and Monica. Ray, your mom was your biggest fan. She would talk to me about you so much. She said that you were so much like my dad. And knowing my dad when he was young, that worried me a little bit, you know. But I could see all the good things that she saw in my dad that she saw in you too. You were her boy, her son, her love. She really thinks you are one of the most intelligent people in the world, and I would not argue with her on that. She's so proud of you. And she's so proud of the man that you've become. Like my dad, she worried about you, but she's smiling from heaven now with no worries. I love you, Cousin Ray. Monica, your mom is one of a kind. Absolutely right. She is one of a kind. I have met thousands of people, and I have served and traveled a lot overseas. Been to multiple countries, and I have never met a woman like your mom, my Aunt Cordy. But if I was to come close, it'd be her daughter, Monica Madrid. You know, your mom worried a lot about you too, cousin. She did. She told me. But she's smiling from heaven now, excited with the family support and that you'll be okay. You're a survivor, just like Mama Encha was. I'll tell you some side stories about Mama Encha later, okay? It's not appropriate. And Grandma Margarita and your mom, for crying out loud, she went through the death of 2 dads by the age of 5 years old, right? And you got this. Hang in there, okay? And look at already how much you've endured, right? And for your next chapter, your mom will be your cheerleader from heaven. You know, not the cheerleaders that go in the circles and the stuff like that, but the cheerleader that's going to be rah, 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 like that. And for Cordy's wonderful grandchildren. And for Cordy's wonderful grandchildren. You know, I can't. She loves you guys. You know. She loves you guys very, very deeply. Cordy was proud to be from Pocatello and proud to have graduated from Pocatello High School, or Pokey as she called it. I remember I moved here for college, and she gave me a tour of the city, and she was so proud of it. She had so many stories. Cordy loved a good sell and loved JCPenney's. I remember her making special trips to JCPenney's to pick something up, and she had me drive her there and everything. I remember Aunt Cordy loved Wheel of Fortune, and when I lived with her, we also watched a show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and we used to talk about what if we became millionaires. She had her routine, and she was very cute to watch with her sweet and love, and she was so sweet and lovable, and her giggle, you know, her giggle. She loved good music, and I must say she had good taste in music. Smokey Robinson, the Shirelles, the Supremes, Pointer Sisters, the Dells. Did I mention Dinah Ross and the Supremes? Right. I would love to make her mixtapes and then mix CDs, and she would hold on to those CDs well after CDs stopped playing. Cordy loved cards and flowers and pictures and small gifts and mementos, and she would cherish those for years, long after they were given. Cordy loved warm hugs and we loved getting hugs from her, right? She loved a nice warm blanket, and sometimes I remember talking about current events with her, and her and I would stress about those together. She loved the Pittsburgh Steelers, and she knew a lot about them, actually. I was very impressed. And she felt sorry for me for liking the Dallas Cowboys. But she still loved me. She did. Once Cordy loved you, she loved you unconditionally. And those that she loved, you know who you are out there. You know. Speaking of unconditional love, where's my Uncle Ray? There he is. Your love will be waiting for you in heaven, Uncle Ray. But your time is not now. Okay? Your time is not now. You must continue. Stay strong. She loved you and she loves you still. And you will. And she'll always love you, Uncle Ray. But we love you too. Okay, your friends, your nephews, your nieces, your cousins, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. She's with you in your heart, but we're here for you right now. So you hang on there. You hang on here with us on earth. And enjoy the time you have with us. Okay? We love you, Uncle Ray. And although it may seem that the world is a little bit darker without my Aunt Cordy, and the world is a little bit more meaner without Mrs. Madrid, and the world is a little less sweet without your mom in the kitchen smiling at you and giggling, we must remember that the world is a little bit brighter because of my Aunt Cordy. And the world is a little bit nicer because of Mrs. Madrid, right? And the 30 years that she was an educator. And the world is a little bit nicer because of her. And the world is a little bit sweeter because of your grandmother, right? And your mom. She was sweet though, huh? Please remember that the world is a better place because of Cordy, Eva, forever. Sanchez was because she was born in, let me repeat that, because the Eva got me kind of, please remember that the world is a better place because Cordy Eva Sanchez was born in Las Vegas, New Mexico, in an adobe house. Her kindness, her love that she shared with us will continue until the end of time. Now go tonight, please go listen to some oldies or Where Did Our Love Go by Diana Ross and the Supremes, or Angel Baby by Rosie and the Originals. Tap your foot and thank Cordy for being a special part of our lives. I love you, Aunt Cordy. Forever and ever. Amen.